interpreter's entry or log number 1, October 5th, 2022. This is my first diary entry for year 2 of the MCI. You know, at the beginning when we were told to do this, I didn't really know what to make of it. And then we got into the intensive week with Quinty, and things got kind of intense. But you know, they didn't get intense from a practicum or from a practice perspective. Although it was very interesting, and a lot of things were new. But it got intense from a personal. I felt because of we were going from English into Spanish. Some of the observations were, they brought me back to almost like my childhood. Like suddenly I was back in my grade 2 remedial class. I remember I was in Miss Buckley's class, and when I walked in, it was like a third of the size from grade 1. And with a bunch of kids who were kind of, I don't know, for lack of a better word, slower, so to speak. But, so at the beginning I didn't understand, and I almost resented it. But then I saw that going slower and getting more attention from Miss Buckley. Imagine, how old was I then? 8 years old. And I still remember her name, Helen Buckley, the sweetest lady. It was slower. She took her time. And I learned, and I acquired information, knowledge, and retained it. And I got like a sense of progressing. Whereas in grade 1, I always felt like I was behind the ball, behind the 8 ball. I was always in that remedial reading class. I was diagnosed with dyslexia. I stuttered. I was ashamed of my name. I had a birthmark over my eye. Very self-aware. Found ways to deal with that, coping mechanisms, whatever you want to call it. Flash forward 42 years, or more than 42 years. And now I'm 50. And I feel like I've gone back to there. Having to deal with stuff or grow up from then. And it's true what Quinty says, that my Spanish is, in some respects, almost infantile. And I feel like today, incidentally, I ended up at the hospital because I started a new MS treatment, and I'm having symptoms out of the blue. Very scared. My blood work, though, is normal. The doctor says that the medication doesn't have these side effects. Her opinion is, even if it were a MS attack, I would need something big like double vision. Together with this, I'm slurring some words. And so I look around and I think, you know what? I mean, in the absence of proof, quantifiable, be it blood results, the doctor's opinion, when it comes up empty, you got to think maybe it's stress. Maybe I'm so stressed out, even though I don't know it, even though I don't feel it, my body is manifesting itself like this. 10 years ago when I had my breakdown, it was very similar. I was under a lot of stress. A lot of stress. I just became a father, et cetera, running the company on my own. And I had a major meltdown. And some of these symptoms I started feeling today or yesterday remind me of that. Now, the minute I accepted that maybe it's neurosis, self-sabotage, doing it to myself, psychosomatic, I felt relieved. Incredible. I feel like I've grown. And all of this, this MCI program is incredible because it's making me go back and deal with it. Having just turned 50, I feel like my midlife crisis is behind me, and I'm actually working on stuff that I maybe should have worked on 42 years ago, all from interpretation. How incredible is that? And how incredible is that and profound from my very first diary entry I never thought I would be talking about something like this. I never thought that interpretation would take me back in my life and have to deal with stuff. I mean, I've been doing it for like a long time. However, I'm very, very curious to see what the next 7 months will bring. I mean, this first month was pretty intense. Granted, there was a lot going on. Now, what am I learning is really I mean, some stuff no, but some other stuff is so precise. Issues that I've experienced and thought about for a long time in the booth. Not only are we talking about it, not only am I living it, but my lovely instructors are able to clearly articulate what and why it goes on, and most importantly, what I could possibly do to change it. And I've found out a few things about myself and what I do in the booth and how I get in my own way. So everything is going really, really well. I think I need to trust myself more and give myself some time, and be kind to myself. My language, my Spanish is getting better by the day. I'm putting in the time. Heck, I watched a YouTube video today on numbers. It was like being in romper room. But you know what? I actually learned a thing or two, So, in some respects, super basic, what I'm going through. And sometimes you got to take a step or two or maybe 42 steps back in order to progress. And I think in some respects, that's what's going on. But in others, I think it's going really, really well. Overall, I see growth. All right, Beiger out.